Hey, how's it going? I would like you to please look at my signs there. So, take two. Let me just start over. I pulled 3 cards from the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck. They are number 61, Whale Song, and the subtitle is Resonating. Second one I picked was number 59, Wailing Tree, and its subtitle is Reconciliations, and it is number 59. If I let it get past, this was number 61. Add 6 and 1 together, it makes a 7. Pin that thought. 59. If you add them together, you're going to get 14. But if you add 1 and 4, you're going to get 5. So 59, I'm just going to go with 59. You'll see why. Or, I don't know. I just didn't add them up the way I just explained. You'll see. And the third card was number 25, Garden of Venus. And the subtitle is Rest and Renewal. Did I say the subtitle on Wailing Tree? It's Reconciliations. Maybe you should just take another look at that, because I just feel like you should right now. All right. And I pulled 3 other cards. At least it was balanced. That's not the word I wanted to use, but it'll work. I got 3 of each card. It certainly was not my intention. I only wanted 1 of each. That's always my intention. And so anyway, the 3 I got from this, the Animal Spirit deck, the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck. See the fine print? Are, come here, you. Otter. Moth, and lamb. So I'm going to start a little differently, and I'm going to start with the numbers, the numbered cards, numbers. So, like I said, for Garden of Venus, number 25, if you add the 2 and 5 together, it is 7. And the spiritual significance of 7 is self-belief, intuition, understanding the importance of growth and knowledge through pain. The second card was number 59. I told you about the numerology of that. I'm not going to go with that. I'm just going to go with 59 here, or that's what I did. And the spiritual significance of this card was personal growth, awakening. Oh, okay, well, personal growth and awakening. That's actually a lot. And the final card of these was number 61. If you add the 6 and the 1 together, you get 7. So the first thing I said about self-belief and intuition, also understanding the importance of growth and knowledge through pain, which is like pretty textbook what the awakening process involves. Textbook description, I should say. But when I looked up the spiritual significance of this, an angel number came up first. And it was, keep a positive outlook because your material and financial needs will be met. Okay, it's good advice. And so what the other cards had to say, also for significance, although this time I asked about the significance of awakening for each animal, and for moth, it says spiritual emissary. I don't know what happened there. I got a skip in my disc. Endings. represents endings where a beginning can start. Nocturnal animals they are, and it made me think because of that like it says endings, and it kind of made me think of like the River Styx kind of endings where you die and you go on the boat to the underworld. It's like an Egyptian thing. You can look up that underworld River Styx, and it's going to tell you whatever you want to know if you put that in a search bar, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, but then I also thought that because they're nocturnal, it could also represent in your awakening process, where you have your, what is the stupid saying? Dark night of the soul. So, that's how the moth could come to represent awakening. That's not out of the guidebook for these, by the way. The next card of those animal spirit guide cards, gee whiz, it's hard to choke out a sentence. Lamb represents the child. Those are quotes, not lobsters or rabbits. I don't know why. Oh, there's curly. I'm not going to explain that right now. Lamb represents the child who begins to walk in Jesus' footsteps and gradually awakes to the love of the Creator. Love for all are one, and as unconditional, the better. The love, that is. So, the child was in quotes, because again, like it felt like it was talking about someone at whatever age, really, that comes into spiritual awakening and begins to look at the whole world differently, and everything's new, like you're a child. Lamb. Ooh, I just whacked myself in the face with a lamb. And then the final card of those I pulled was otter. An otter, it represents the playful childhood self that you come to miss. And so when you encounter the otter spirit, that is likely because you've come to some place within yourself where you're having fun like you did when you were a child, and you were like have far fewer cares, if any, than you do now as an adult. I mean, I don't need to know the adult personally to know that it's been, kind of a rough decade. And you don't necessarily have to have like everybody the whole same existence. Like, it could be a single person, or a full-on family person, or a cleric person that doesn't do traditional family stuff and doesn't marry and things, or I'm just saying, there's just such a wide variety of us, the way things could land. It's interesting the way life just sort of contorts to each of our specific life paths. So I had pulled the cards and kind of given them a look and got some impressions from them, and I did my usual thing where I watch a bunch of stuff, and I do that on an everyday basis as long as I have internet. But I have not been able to do the other part of my routine, which is go out and get exercise the way I normally do, and I have not been doing that because of either the weather. I didn't want to go out in the rain and get my metal bike wet. It's kind of subject to rust. And then also my own body was like, it hurts when you try to do that, so maybe don't do that. So I've been listening to that, and it's been happening a lot. But I realized today that at the end of every summer, when I'm out there busting my ass trying to get some of my winter weight off, by the end of the summer, I'm just a physical wreck, and I guess that's where I'm at. Like, I could go out there right now. It's not raining, but I'm telling you, it's probably not a good idea. I just have to wait longer now in between flare-ups of my injury on my shoulder, and now now there's a whole new element to it where my back's trying to join in and be disharmonic. Anyway, so this was a result of being here in the house all day, and I'm actually doing this several hours earlier than I normally would, but due to current circumstances, like the upload that I uploaded this morning at 1 a.m. just finished uploading like 10 minutes ago. So I'm on metered internet because I'm a diamond member at Comcast, but they're like, oh, you can't pay your bill this month. We're just gonna give you the, yeah. I'm grateful they gave me anything. But it ends on Tuesday. So as the day that I run out of time, unless I can come up with some money for them before I get paid, which is, who knows. I'm trying to get in whatever I can before I run out of internet, and I can't do it anymore. So here I am about 6 hours earlier than I would normally be doing it to give it time to upload before I turn into a pumpkin, so to speak. Okay, here goes. How am I on time? Oh, not bad at all. Okay. What we have and what we lack and what we get out of it. What we have and what we lack can be a lesson about what we get and grow from. Wait, what we get and growing from? Okay. Learning to be grateful for. Oh, what we get and growing from it. Learning to be grateful for it. Oh my gosh. Well, that's essentially what I was trying to say. When we're in abundance, where we basically have everything we need and we're not wanting for anything, we're usually aware that it's going on. We make much of it in the form of memory. If it's good, we definitely have those. On the other hand, sometimes things are hard and take a lot out of us, and most of us, can't wait for it to be over and are in a hurry to shove the memory away. But like, that's if it's bad. However, sometimes we will wear that bad memory and just hang on to it and, I don't know, let it linger too long, and it becomes like a yoke around your neck. But anyway, let me go on. I'm saying, we don't often show appreciation for the day. I can only speak for myself when I say this, but when I remember, or not even that, feel for a good day, you know, like a quote-unquote good day, or time in my life, I get the image of a sunny day at the beach. In retro, I look back and know I had good, great, elevated times in this place. Not all of it, Rosie, but did I say to myself at any time, boy, am I grateful to be here and now? Not in so many words. I definitely mouthed appropriate sounds of polite etiquette. In all sincerity, I thanked my host and was polite and deferential to guests and staff alike, or I should say other guests and staff alike. Did I show gratitude for the chain of events that led to my sitting there on that particular spot of the many beaches I've sat upon back at home, because they all kind of run in the strip? Well, that's something to ponder another time, truly. I did indeed return home and replay all of the days I spent there. The first day I remember in particular, I know I relived every moment. I was so happy, but kind of for the wrong reasons. It was all very egoic based. I got to go to a rich people's private beach club. I could take a dip in the pool maybe 6 months to a year ago, I started seeing my character's name on these meditation videos on YouTube. And so I was like, well, I feel like I should watch them. And they've been very good and instructive. So I watched one today. I will probably link it to the descriptions, but I want you, if you watch it, I want you to notice that I say almost identically something that it says in that video about holding on to past stuff, that resentments, attachments, whatever it is, for so long that they start to make us sick. And that makes me happy, because then it makes me confident that I'm not having imposter syndrome sitting here talking to you. That's verification for me. So anyway, that the idea that we lack things and that we dwell on them to the point that they fester is an indication of itself that we've been holding on to an idea until it's begun sickening us. That is the sentence that is very similar, that's in the video that I will link. At that point, it's an invitation to choose to heal or not. Remove the sickness, examine its nature, learn the ways it's affected us to know how to treat it and cure it. Away to surgically get to the root of our wild hairs. It's brutal sometimes. We can bring into light some pretty unpalatable things. Stuff we impulsively want to look away from, that's inside of us, which is, we should be able to feel okay to look at our own stuff inside our own self, right? I don't know, I don't know. The most direct way to deal with the problem we create for ourselves, problems, and get lost in, so we can in turn find our way back from them. Learn from the errors, what not to do that made such the untenable situation in the first place, to end the self-sabotage, root through the ash and remains for the surviving gems. Jewels in the form of the culmination of heavy pressures and elevated temperatures that result in a glittering diamond of information, like the process, the pain and the pressure, the heat, the elevated heat, which I would translate as elevated emotions. Once you get through that, once you survive that, you have been able to form this gem crystal of information. In other words, everything we went through to get that which shines and glints with light through understanding finally attained period. Definitely grateful for the process and everything that understanding's given me from that. Oh, am I done? Oh, yeah, I guess that's it. Where am I? Seriously? Wow, I'm good on time. So I guess I'll read and see what the guidebook has to say. I'll start with the animals. And I will start with otter. I guess I'll start with lamb. Because that's where the book opened. Lamb. Peaceful, prophetic, patient. Boy, that's something that a couple of channelings I've just watched over the past couple of days have talked about. Patience being super important, and we really have to work on it. And I've been saying for a while now that that's something that I have needed I've needed help with it, I guess. I can say it. There's nothing wrong with that. And it comes, in a different way than like someone showing up at my door, but signs and portents, they come. So, anyway, enough about me. Lamb, peaceful, prophetic, patient. The lamb is the bearer of an important message. Its contents can only be heard when a deep level of quiet has been established. Lamb energy is the honest guidance you hear from an old friend, a young child, or sometimes a surprising stranger. Through the lamb's message, though the lamb's message may channel through another person, the wisdom resonates within you. It will repeat and reverberate until you listen. Approach this gentle creature with utmost patience and reverence. Truth is a gift. Sit still, listen, receive. When in balance, knowingness, inner peace. When out of balance, quiet, timid, concerned. To bring into balance, meditation, listening. I wonder to what music comes to mind for me, because I was just going to say, because it's not really trying to tell you what to do. If it has lyrics, there's some measure of that, although usually it's the person talking all about themselves and some incident in their life, and it's not really ever been directed at us, but we might glean something useful from a lyric. There's a lot of stuff to listen to out there, like, I can't think of the word for music without lyrics. Instrumentals, there's sounds, like forest sounds, there's rain, and ASMR, AMSR, I always screw up the spelling on that. The peaceful sounds, the satisfying sounds tracks. Or spoken word. Yeah, a book. There's so much you could listen to. It just depends on what you want to on board, So, the next card, let's see if I'll get otter or moth first. Looks like it's going to be moth, because that is the section where I ended up. Come on. I'm in the flying insect area. I'm in the flying beings, animal creatures area. Everything but the one I'm looking for. There it is. Moth. Impulsive, hasty, wishful. The moth is sure the grass is greener on the other side. Moth energy is at play when we're attracted to easy solutions or anything shiny and new. This can lead to unfinished projects, disappointment, or burnout. It's helpful to remind moth personalities that life is complex. No matter the illusion, no one is exempt from the trials and tribulations of this great journey. Practice seeing life as an infinite mystery rather than wishing it was easier or different. I have notes, but just a moment. When in balance, enthusiastic, whimsical. When out of balance, idealizes others, jittery. To bring into balance, finish a project. Okay, all of these balance things tell me one thing. When you're good, you're happy, you're playful, you're whimsical, you start getting out of balance, you start losing your sense of self, and you idealize others, and that ain't right, so you feel jittery. And then to bring into balance, you finish a project. Well, yes, that makes sense, because if you start something and you follow through and finish it, you know that it was you that did it, and that is, I would think, a fulfilling activity for someone who, gets out of balance and begins to idealize others and lose their sense of self, which makes them jittery. It's like it's a terrible, shaky circle. And it's interesting, this book has to say about the moth is completely out of line with, like, all of everything else I've said, but I had a feeling that might happen because, you know, it's just doesn't happen to be in tune with everything else, which I guess that happens. So the last animal card I had was otter, and I have to find the section for that guy. Okay, there that is. Wrong. Oh, animal. Octopus, with a lot of octopus talk and stuff I was watching today. So I just think I always think that's interesting. Found oyster, not the one I'm looking for. There it is. Otter, unobstructed joy, playfulness, contentment. Perhaps the most joyful creature within the animal spirit deck, the otter, represents absolute bliss. Otter energy is the playfulness of a child, available to us at any age. They have a giddiness and reverence for life itself, without the presence of doubt, worry, or skepticism. Imagine yourself with a little more otter energy. What would life look like? What would it take to bring you there? The otter begs these questions and wants to transport us to that precious place as soon as possible. Celebration awaits. When in balance, full of love, needs nothing. When out of balance, gloomy, sighs, make silly excuses. To bring into balance, dance party or celebration. She did a really good hand. She did a really good hand on the otter jobs. The little hand. Look at the little fingies. Adorable. You know, I had taken notes. What did I write about the otter here? Because I don't think I said it. The otter, reminiscent of playful childhood self. Some of it I did. Missed that self. Returns to it. Makes happy. Otter teaches us to go deep subconsciously for insight. Like diving. Ha ha! Encourages to keep it light and retain a sense of humor, to buoy us up from the depths back up to the light. Ha hardy hardy har. Okay, yeah, so I guess I didn't read that last part, but I'm glad I just did. Okay, that covers every bit of information that I have for you today about these cards. Whoops. So, oh, that's the wrong way. The animal cards, I went with how they represented awakening, because there's a lot. Hold on. There's a lot of people sort of making that breakthrough, beginning that process, and it's confusing, or it can be. And I know that a lot of people will seek out information to try and help them, so I hope that if someone who is awakening stumbles across that, some of what is said here helped. But I don't think I'm doing like beginner stuff. I think I don't know who is, honestly. And I can tell you, when I started, I didn't start at any beginning. Checking my time, I just kind of started when I started, and have been just sort of venturing every which way since. But I have been informed by things in my life, like education and religion. Oh my goodness, so much. And understand, like, well, they had me in the religious schools for about 3 or 4 years when I was very young, like kindergarten to, I think I went till 3rd grade. But it permeates the American culture, the North American United States culture, and many other places too, but it acts in a specific way here. It's its own flavor. But that also informed me in my awakening process. And I got keyed in, triggered, whatever, in the strangest way possible. And also, not just the awakening, but I was educated on how to like start using and awakening sort of abilities beyond like your normal thing, like psychic stuff, which I am and was way into. I was like hanging online with some Q people in 2015, and just then, like, not pretty much ever since. But we talked about none of the stuff they talk about today. We talked about music. We did talk about some politics and stuff. We talked about ancient aliens a lot and the stuff that's on there, and ETs, and you know, Kabbalah, and then just like personal stuff, like, you know, there were a lot of the people were vets, or some of them were on there that had kids that are serving or were at the time active in the service. So it was a very like military / government group, and then there was a couple of us that were none of that at all that were on there anyway. And it was just interesting, and I was there because a bunch of things happened that just weirdly fell into place, where I ended up catching the interest of some people from that world, and then other people noticed me, and I started hanging out with them online because I wanted to know what is the conspiracy theory all about. Well, I couldn't tell you that now, because I don't think that, like, the conspiracy theory of like the Q thing, I think that's just open-ended for convenience sake, because it is a complete manipulation. I think that for the millionth time, I think the various forces have gotten together with a certain goal in mind, and it's become clear today what it is. I'm not sure. I guess it was always leading to this end, though, and it's like fascism and upper classes wanting to have lower classes to just shut up and be like slaves and workers and quit asking for stuff. And you don't need, like, they don't have a concept of what it's like to live without what we say we need, but they just assume that, I don't know what they assume, because I'm not a rich person, but it doesn't seem like they can like really relate to the plight of someone whose income is a fraction of what you make over like a 10-year period. So there's a disparity there, and because of that, and because of the way that there's been a concerted effort to keep good education out of the hands of not rich people, not controlling entities. I mean, they've used this they is very vague. Like, I couldn't specifically say who it is. I have some ideas. I think there are nations and agents, possibly of this nation, definitely of others, that would like to see this nation fail so that their nations could be at the top of the heap, sort of geopolitically, the way the United States of America has been. Be careful what you wish for. That's all I can say. But I think that smart people put together a plan to send people's minds a certain way, and it's more than just Q. It's something that either it was born of, or I don't know if it's the chicken or the egg, honestly. But like, Q is just like a visible tendril, I feel like, that you can see. And I feel like I'm one of the few people that can see that something like that's even happening, or that even cares to look. But anyway, the Q people I knew in 2015 were a different breed of people. Like I was saying, they were professional, like they'd been service people, or they worked for the government. And they were not uneducated, and they were not the people that you will see being interviewed at a Trump rally. And I was going to say something about editing, and I don't think that a lot of editing has to take place when it's somebody on the left doing it, because I just don't think that they have to like make it look like anything than what it is. And I've seen interviews at the rallies by people from the right, and the interviewer is more on the side of the person that they're interviewing will agree with them. And not saying that the interviewers on the left just troll them. There are some comedy people that do it, and they do troll people, but there's some comedy people that are completely serious talking to them, and not, like I said, they don't have to edit much because they don't have to mock them. They like they can just ask them a serious, sincere question, and the answer they'll get back comes out sounding kooky to a certain ear, and I guess you could say anyway, so with the awakening, some people are going to wake up to the fact that, oh wait, that is not what I thought it was, and it's doing things to people and to me that I actually am not that crazy about. So we'll go through a process like the otter where we have to go deep, and if we want to keep sane, because you're going to find a lot of stuff down buried in the sludge in the bottom of our sort of mental wet places, deep subconscious wells, and going through that process of surgically examining the things that are making us do things and react in certain ways. When we realize that we want to get to the bottom of something that we're doing that we discover we don't like anymore and don't want to continue doing, no one says it's going to be easy to face these things about ourselves. But my goodness, we're our own harshest critics. If we can't, say the worst, the thing we're most afraid of hearing just inside of ourselves, then wow, we have a long way to go. Because you got to start there. But you got to be able to get into your inside too. Like we can put a lot of stuff between us and the truth. The truth of us that we want to, at some point, show to be our authentic self. And so we'll shed a lot of stuff that you've grown attached with, and maybe as in the shedding process and you're pulling it off, you're maybe losing some hairs that got attached, or possibly skin. Depends on how deep the attachment. But at some point, something gets through to us and awakens us. Some maybe unheard, inaudible sound, because there's subaural things that below our ability to hear that affect us, and we could maybe not even know that it's going on or not be as aware. So we have to let the resonations wash over us and learn how to determine what is right and real and good first for us, and then focus and reflect that outside of us if we want to do what we're ultimately here to do, which is to serve each other. And everything we do is a service to each other in some way, like the not rosy situation I brought up at the beach with the guy that I realize now in much greater detail, like, boy, I should not have done that to him. I should not have achieved my goal in that particular way, or more gracefully exited the situation. No excuses. And so, I'm in a better position today than maybe I was then to face all of those things, which is why today it just bubbled up to the surface and I started talking to it. So it wasn't a wailing, but I was able to see that I possibly caused this person to feel like the person that's inside that burning tree trunk thing, that they're like grown into it and they can't get out and the back of it's on fire. And I would say that was me being all terrible and sneaking up on them and presenting them with a situation that I knew they'd say yes to, and my motives were not great, okay? I'll just say it. But we all do something. I'm gonna say, yeah, we all do something like that at some point, because I think none of us are perfect. But when we start awakening, we start being able to resonate with what's, you know, good for everybody, basically, because that's when things work best in the world. And you know, while we're undergoing this process and learning to tune in more better with we'll just call it the whale song. Eventually we're going to get to a place like the Garden of Venus, and you know, we will have gotten through, past, and beyond this period, and more able to tune in more often to this. And when we do, this is where we can be. And the more we learn how to do this longer and better, the more time we can spend here. We have to leave sometimes to come back and be of service and assistance to people like this that are awakening and just starting to hear this sound. So everyone could use a little assistance. Everyone could use a little help, a little loving, out of nowhere, here, you look like you're having trouble with that, please allow me to help you, type of assistance. If you want it, you know, if that's your kind of thing. So, yeah. Thank you and good night.